Table for one? The hostess asked with a puzzled smile, her eyes flicking to the cap in my lap and the lone graduation robe draped over the chair. I nodded, trying to keep the smile on my face from crumbling. Yeah, just one. Right by the window, please. It was supposed to be a surprise dinner. My treat. My graduation gift to myself and my family. I picked Carmela's Bistro, their favorite place in town where my parents celebrated every anniversary, every promotion, every birthday. I sat at the corner booth they always requested. I kept checking my phone. 6:10 p.m. Then 6:40. Then 7:12. No calls. No texts. Nothing. My mom had texted me that morning. Busy day, sweetie. You've got this. We'll talk soon, two hearts. My dad? Not a word. My older sister, Rebecca? Radio silence. I stared out the window as the waiter cleared away the 3 untouched place settings across from me. I whispered to myself, they really forgot. And then, without flinching, I added, they're gonna remember one day. I'll make sure of it. My name is Kayla Thompson, and I'm 24 years old. 2 hours before that silent dinner, I walked across the stage at UCLA, graduating summa cum laude with a degree in business and hospitality management. I had worked 3 jobs, pulled all-nighters, skipped holidays, and still made the dean's list every semester. But you wouldn't know that from how my family treated me. Growing up, my parents always had more room in their hearts and their calendars for my sister, Rebecca. She was the successful one, the one who got into law school, the one who never missed a chance to boast about her mock trial victories. When she walked the stage 4 years ago, they threw a banquet. When I won the statewide entrepreneurship competition last year, they didn't even send a card. Still, I held on to hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this graduation would be different. That they'd be proud of me for building something out of nothing. That they'd remember how I used to practice restaurant menus as a little girl, folding paper napkins in our tiny kitchen, dreaming of owning my own place. My grandma used to sit with me at the counter, sipping her chamomile tea. You've got magic in your hands, baby, she'd say, watching me sketch out restaurant layouts on the backs of junk mail. She passed away during my sophomore year. She was the only one who never made me feel like second best. And maybe that's why it stung so badly, because she wasn't there and neither was anyone else. Every bite of that lonely pasta at Carmela's that night reminded me that my hard work wasn't invisible. It was just being ignored by the people I'd worked hardest to impress. I wasn't angry. Not yet. But I felt something stirring. Something cold. Something sharp. Something focused. 3 weeks after my graduation dinner for one, I was standing in that same restaurant, but not as a customer. I was wearing a tailored navy blue blazer, holding a slim leather folder in one hand and a set of shiny brass keys in the other. Actually, I said to the general manager, as he extended his hand to introduce himself, I'm the new owner. Carmela's Bistro had been struggling quietly for months. The original owners, a retired Italian couple, were desperate to sell but wanted someone who would preserve its charm. The moment I learned it was on the market, I didn't hesitate. I liquidated my savings, used the restaurant pitch I developed for my senior capstone, and got a small business grant based on my business plan. That morning, as I walked through the front doors, I could already smell the espresso from the back counter. The familiar clink of cutlery and soft jazz floated through the air like memory. Inside the folder was the signed purchase agreement, notarized and stamped. All mine. I had kept this move quiet, no social media posts, no celebration dinners. I wanted the surprise to be as unforgettable as their silence had been. And when I invited my family to brunch the following Sunday, just like they used to drag me along for, I knew they wouldn't be able to resist. After all, they loved Carmela's. But now, Carmela's belonged to me. Sunday morning rolled around like any other, sunlight pouring through the front windows of the restaurant, fresh basil being chopped in the back, and mimosas chilling on ice. By 11:15 a.m., the Thompson family arrived. Rebecca came first, flanked by our mom, Diane, in a coral blazer, and our dad, Richard, already grumbling about parking. None of them noticed the updated signage out front. Carmela's A. Thompson House. They were too busy talking about Rebecca's recent win in court. I watched from behind the host stand, my heart pounding. My manager, Elena, gave me a subtle nod before handing them their menus and walking them to their usual booth. I waited exactly 10 minutes before walking over. "Morning," I said, smooth and calm. 3 sets of eyes blinked up at me. "Kayla," my mom stammered. "What are you doing here? You working here part-time or something?" I almost laughed. "Not quite." Dad looked annoyed. "Didn't know you were into food service." Rebecca didn't even look up from the menu. "I invited you all here today because there's something you should know," I said, pulling out the same leather folder and laying it gently on the table. "Flip to the first page." Mom picked it up, eyebrows furrowing as she scanned it. Her hand trembled. "You bought it?" she whispered. "Yes," I said simply. "I'm the new owner of Carmela's. As of 2 weeks ago." Dad chuckled dryly, disbelieving. "How on earth could you afford this?" "Scholarships, grants, business plan competitions. And I've been saving every dime since sophomore year," I replied. "Remember when I said I wanted to open a restaurant? This isn't just mine now, it's my start." There was silence. A thick, stunned silence. Then Rebecca spoke, still flat. "So, this is some kind of stunt? A dramatic flex because we missed your graduation?" I tilted my head. "Oh, you didn't miss it. You just forgot it." Dad leaned back, voice rising. "That's not fair, Kayla. We've supported you in our own way." "We were busy. Rebecca had a trial that week." I interrupted, calm and measured. "No, what's not fair is pretending to care only when it's convenient." I sat alone at this table, in that gown, waiting for people who were supposed to love me. I paid for your favorite wine, ordered your favorite food. You never showed. Mom started to tear up. "We didn't know. We just thought that it wasn't important enough," I finished. "I'm not here for an apology. I just wanted you to see where your absence led me." Rebecca scoffed. "So what now? You gloat? Hold brunch over our heads?" I glanced at her, steady. "No. I offer you the same thing you offered me, distance. But if you'd like to enjoy brunch today, you're welcome to. As paying customers." That's when Uncle Darren's wife, Melissa, who had come along last minute, placed her menu down. "Well," she said, slowly turning to me with a warm smile, "I'd love to try whatever the chef recommends. And Kayla, I'm really proud of you." My mother looked stunned. Rebecca rolled her eyes. My dad stayed silent. I smiled and nodded, coming right up. As I walked back toward the kitchen, I felt the shift, like something heavy had finally slid off my shoulders. They could no longer define me. Not through silence, not through praise, not through anything. They were just customers now. And I was building something they could never take credit for. The rest of that brunch played out like a well-rehearsed theater piece, with each of them unsure of their role now that I was no longer the background character. My mom tried to make light conversation, asking about the renovations I had planned. My dad mostly avoided eye contact, occasionally muttering to Rebecca about how things change fast. And Rebecca? She scrolled through her phone, her only response being a forced, "The eggs are good." But Melissa? She stayed with me after the meal, asking about the menu, my chef, the grant I applied for, and what I wanted to do next. Her interest wasn't fake. And when she looked at me, it wasn't pity, it was pride. As the family got ready to leave, Mom lingered near the hostess stand. "Kayla," she started, voice softer than I'd heard in years. "This place is beautiful." "I mean it." "Thank you," I replied, professional. Polite. She hesitated, then added, Maybe we could all come back sometime? As a family?" I gave her a gentle smile. "You're welcome anytime. Reservation line is on the website." She blinked at that, as if realizing that I wasn't going to make this easy. And I wasn't. I had learned the cost of giving people too many chances. They start calling it a favor instead of a privilege. Over the next few weeks, Carmela's became something more than a restaurant. It became a community hub. I started hosting Sunday poetry nights, bringing in young Black artists, giving space for voices that often went unheard. Local food bloggers began writing about the new menu. We added vegan options, late-night jazz on Fridays, and a free meal program for underprivileged youth once a month, funded by a portion of our weekend earnings. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because I knew what it felt like to be unseen. And no one who came into Carmela's would ever feel that again. Melissa became a regular. Sometimes she'd bring her kids. Other times, she'd just come by to sit with her laptop and a cup of espresso. One rainy afternoon, she brought me a framed photo of Grandma, one I'd never seen before. In it, Grandma was sitting at her old kitchen table, folding napkins with me when I must have been 6 or 7. She would have loved this place, Melissa said, placing the frame near the cash register. I think she does, I whispered. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. Rebecca showed up alone. She came during lunch rush, stood awkwardly by the dessert bar until I noticed her. I walked over, arms folded, not cold, just cautious. Didn't expect to see you here, I said. She looked around. I wanted to see it for myself. Mom kept going on about the renovations. Well, here it is. Rebecca nodded. It's impressive. You did all this? Yes, I did. A long pause. Then she surprised me. I was jealous, she blurted. You were always quieter, always in your own world, and somehow you made it all real. I was the one they praised, but you actually built something. I didn't know how to deal with that. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. It didn't fix everything, but it was a beginning. I'm not asking for a do-over, she said. I just wanted you to know I see you now. That night, I stood alone in the kitchen, looking at the photo of Grandma. I lit one of her favorite candles, lavender and rose, and placed it next to the frame. I whispered, I kept my promise. Because I had. I promised myself I'd be seen, heard, respected. And I did it not by demanding attention, but by earning my place. By transforming the pain into something that fed more than just hunger. 6 months later, Carmela's had transformed from a forgotten bistro into a vibrant landmark, a testament to reinvention and resilience. The once stale wallpaper was replaced by artful murals portraying the restaurant's journey from humble beginnings to a beacon of community strength. Every corner whispered stories of loss, perseverance, and ultimately, a rebirth that resonated far beyond its brick-and-mortar walls. On a crisp autumn morning, I unlocked the front door, as usual, the brass keys glinting in the gentle sunlight. The bells above the entrance jingled melodiously as regulars and newcomers alike streamed in. Outside, a newly installed sign read simply, Carmela's, a home for the unseen. It wasn't just a business name, it was my declaration, a promise to everyone who had ever felt overlooked. As I strolled through the restaurant, memories of that painful graduation dinner mingled with the hum of lively chatter and clinking cutlery. I stopped by the seating area reserved for community events, a space I had dedicated to local art displays and a weekly open mic night. The walls, once barren, were now adorned with photographs capturing moments of collective resilience, snapshots of neighborhood kids practicing dance routines, portraits of elderly patrons laughing over shared meals, and even a candid shot of a Thanksgiving dinner organized by my team. At the counter, Melissa was meticulously arranging a collection of recipe cards on a vintage board. Each card bore the signature of someone who had cooked there, a tribute to both the restaurant's history and the new voices that were defining its future. "Morning, Kayla," she greeted, her eyes warm. "I think today's special might really set the tone for winter nights." I smiled, feeling an overwhelming surge of gratitude. People like Melissa made every challenge worthwhile. That afternoon, the door opened to reveal a small group of local reporters, eager to cover the story of how a neglected dream had blossomed into a community success. I answered their questions with measured calm, explaining how I had channeled my personal pain into creating something that embraced everyone who had ever felt discarded. Their cameras flashed, capturing moments of genuine connection and transformation. In that moment, I wasn't merely a former daughter or a neglected graduate. I was the architect of a new legacy. Later that day, as the golden hours stretched long shadows across our renovated dining room, my phone rang. It was Rebecca. Her tone was softer, tinged with sincerity. Kayla, I know things can't go back to how they were, but I truly admire what you've done here. I want to try and be part of this new chapter, even if it's just as a friend." Her words, simple yet laden with meaning, struck a chord deep within me. I responded with quiet assurance. "We all have our stories to write, Rebecca. Just make sure yours is one you're proud of." We ended the call on tentative good terms, a fragile bridge built over a long-standing chasm. As twilight descended, I took a moment alone on the back patio, where the scent of blooming jasmine intermingled with the earthy aroma of fresh herbs from the kitchen garden. I reminisced about my grandma's gentle advice. "Remember, Kayla, the real strength lies in showing the world your true self, not by clashing against it, but by gently reshaping it." Her timeless words reverberated through the crisp night air as I gazed at the stars, each one a silent witness to my journey. In the weeks that followed, Carmela's continued to grow into more than just a restaurant. I launched a mentorship program in partnership with a local vocational school, providing internships to young individuals striving to overcome adversity. A modest scholarship fund was established in my grandma's name, earmarked for students who, like me, had to fight for their place in a world that often overlooked quiet determination. I even partnered with a community center to host monthly healing dinners, evenings filled with honest conversations, good food, and the shared understanding that our scars often led us to our greatest triumphs. Every evening, as I locked the door and dimmed the lights, I would glance at the framed photograph of my grandma positioned proudly near the entrance. It served as a daily reminder of where I started, the moments of loneliness that pushed me towards change, and the unexpected beauty that emerged when resilience met opportunity. I had transformed a painful past into a future where every unrecognized dream found a place to shine. In that space, among familiar faces, heartfelt stories, and a community that no longer felt forgotten, I truly understood what it meant to be seen. I wasn't just the daughter who had been overlooked or the graduate whose milestone was ignored. I was a catalyst, a nurturer, a creator of legacies. The restaurant wasn't merely my revenge. It was my statement of self-worth, a tribute to those who lost their voices, and a beacon lighting the path forward for everyone seeking to carve out their own destiny. As the night ended and Carmela's quieted into a tender lull, I whispered softly to the emptiness, "I did it, for me, for us, for everyone who ever wondered if they mattered." And with that, I stepped into the future with a heart that was both healed and defiant, ready for whatever story came next.